Oh look, it's me with the same kind of video as last time. I promise I have plans for different videos in the future. Anyway, hi. I just wanted to come back and, make a follow-up video to see what's changed since the last iteration in February. I'll be talking over the stats from the games I played in relation to class choice, killer choice, map rotation escape rates, blah blah blah. However, I didn't have as much time, nor the will, to play 209 games again. So instead, I played 150 games on North American servers anywhere between 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, up until the playtest for Five Nights at Freddy's dropped. And look, I was busy touching grass, my hands were cramping from playing and editing, I was, touching grass, and so there was no way I was gonna play over 200 games again in 2 weeks instead of 3. I'm not getting paid for this shit! I also put out a questionnaire to get some outside opinions just to round out this video. This time I got 13 responses. Okay, look, that's 3 more than last time, so yay, improvement! Here are the guidelines that I had in place to make sure every game was relatively the same. Are you ready to find out if the same problems persist in 2v8? Me too. Let's get started. For the 4th iteration of 2v8, Behavior added the Oni and the Ghostface as the new killers. Torment Creek from Coldwood Farm, Shelter Woods from Macmillan Estate, and Wretched Shop from Autohaven Wreckers were added as new maps. Fog crystals were added as another item survivors could get from opening chests. A new hook animation was added to make hooking more cinematic, and the cosmetic line, Guardians and Shadows, released new outfits for Ghostface, the Legion, Gabriel Soma, and Yoonjin Lee. The Oni, the Ghostface, Gabriel, and Yoonjin were all available to play on a free trial during the 2v8 period. Lastly, through completing quests in 2v8 lobbies, you can earn up to 3 Ghostface-themed items. In this iteration of 2v8, the most played killers were the Legion at 46 games and the Oni at 45 games. The least played character was the Spirit at 6 games. Even though only 2 killers were added this time around, the Oni and the Ghostface made a really great pairing conceptually. You have 2 killers who can insta-down, but in 2 vastly different ways, allowing players to explore different power combinations and playstyles. I felt this was the first iteration where we truly saw a diverse selection of killers and killer pairings. It wasn't like the last iteration where there was one of the 3 new killers in almost every single match. Now, if you watched my last video, you'll know that I avidly hate stealth. So it's probably no surprise that Ghostface being added to 2v8 wasn't something I was looking forward to. But after the first few days of 2v8, I noticed that Ghostface wasn't very impactful in my games. I just think that 2v8 is too fast-paced for a killer that needs time to grow his power through stalking. On top of that, being surrounded by several survivors that reveal you constantly, it's no wonder some of my games barely saw any survivors marked. I think the exposed status should last a little longer so it gives a chance for both Ghostface and his duo more time to down the marked survivor, and I also think it should take longer to reveal him and drain him of his power. But then, we have the flip side. When I first pictured how the Oni would be added in 2v8 months ago, I was thinking that his power would only be slightly tweaked a bit to account for the extra players and for the extra blood that would be available to him. But boy, was I wrong. Look, I like Oni. Trust. His power adds more thrill and risk to the matches. I think having him in 2v8 is extremely fun for Oni mains because it's much easier to get value out of your power. The slugging part doesn't bother me as much since not many killers can do it to the same extent as Oni in 2v8. But when we add everything else that they did to him to make him stronger, I feel like it's just a little much. And anytime he roars, it's just a warning. Like, you're doomed. It's just him saying, okay, tell me time for 3 minutes. and I definitely think this curve, oh my god, the 360s on this motherfucker. I think we just need to increase the amount of blood that he needs for his power, and we also need to revisit the range of his curve, because the way this man is doing donuts on these maps, I think... I'm sorry I keep laughing, it's just like... It's so absurd. I understand there's a lot of map junk, and he needs to get around it, but like, my god... And I know a lot of you on the Survivor side especially felt this effect when Oni was paired with Legion, but I actually found something really interesting when looking over my data. I decided to compare the different pairings that Legion and Oni had in every game, and surprisingly, less than a third of them were them together. The maps this time around did not bring any new realms or unique challenges to 2v8, but here are the stats anyway for those curious. Surprisingly, unlike the last iteration with Raccoon City and Ormond, there was not a huge uptick in the frequency of the new maps, except maybe Torment Creek. Dead Dog Saloon and Mother's Dwellings had higher chances of occurring than all of the new maps. For Survivor class selection, the classes ranked in the same exact positions as they were in the Resident Evil 2v8. Medic is still the most chosen class, while Guide is the least chosen. Most games had at least 1 or 2 players per class every match, leading to a mostly even split in the total player count. This was also the case in the Resident Evil iteration of 2v8. Survivors have very few classes to choose from, and therefore it is much easier to have a balance between the 4 of them. I'd also like to believe that survivors pay attention to the number of players in one class and change if there are too many on one role or none. Having Medic be the leading class twice in a row doesn't surprise me. It's the quickest and easiest way to get yourself and multiple teammates back onto gens and in chase, especially when medkits are rare and escapists using self-care takes longer. As for Killer, there is a huge shift in which classes were chosen. Brute went from 2nd place to 1st place, while Fearmonger went from last place to 2nd. Meanwhile, Shadow is booted from top pick to 3rd place. Now, why might this be? Well, given how fast 2v8 has become, with matches ranging between 8 to 12 minutes long, and no gen regression besides kicking, I believe killers wanted a better chance at forcing survivors to focus on rescues and heals instead of generator progress. Both Brute and Fearmonger give killers different types of haste and aura reveal, helping them get more time-consuming tasks done faster, shoo off lurking survivors from highly progressed gens, and letting them catch up to any survivor with ease, no matter where they are on the map. For the survivor side, BHVR added a single-use item called Fog Crystals. Survivors could retrieve this item by opening a chest. Once acquired, a survivor could drop the crystal at any time, creating a dome of fog that blurs the vision of both survivors and killers who are inside of it. Spectators outside of the fog would not be able to see if anyone was inside of it until it dissipated. When I asked about fog crystals in my questionnaire, I wanted to see how people thought of its usefulness and power, especially compared to herbs. I asked how often survivors were able to get fog crystals. I asked if they were useful to survivors doing chases. I also asked killers if fog crystals added any challenge to their side. And finally, I wanted to see if both sides agreed on how balanced crystals were in the trials. This mixed response to crystals is actually a good sign to me. It meant that similar items could be included in future 2v8 iterations without them being too disruptive or game-changing like the herbs were. Opening chests to get the item, though, is not enticing enough to convince people to play Survivor. Fog crystals actually existed before 2v8. They were first introduced as void crystals in the 2024 Haunted by Daylight Halloween event. However, players would have to repair gens and kick pumpkins to gain void energy to deposit in a dimension called the Void, in exchange for one of these crystals. The riskiness of going to the Void for the crystals was what made it a fun diversion from the normal 1v4 gameplay. But here, it was just luck. It's one step in the right direction, but I think it'll be nice to have the next item tied to a different, more demanding mission to earn it. You know, I really thought, gee, I bet I won't see any major bugs this time around when playing 2v8. Okay. I'm so bad. I'm so bad. I'm so trash. I'm so trash. How did you grab me? Oh my god. Oh. Just 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour into my live stream on the first day of 2v8, mind you. I got grabbed by a whisker and I got stuck on his shoulder, just like I did last time. So, just as I did the previous time this happened, I disconnected in hopes that, you know, it would just put a bot in my place and free whisker. It didn't work. Yeah, you heard me. It didn't work. I was so angry. So angry. Because the next day, guess what? You'll never guess. It happened again! And once again, nothing worked to fix it. No flashlight, no killer partner hitting me. This Legion had even managed to push Wesker, because oh yeah, he can't even move now, close to the pallet and tried to get him stunned. And once more, just to prove this pallet somehow isn't bugged too. And this bug now makes it where neither party disconnecting will free the other player. Isn't that insane? Like that, it's insane that this bug somehow got worse. I had no clue what it looks like when someone disconnects while the other player stays in the match. Well, I managed to find a creator named theMrHeadache. He actually posted a video about 2v8, and in this video he shows from his perspective as an Oni killer with a Wesker partner what happens when someone chooses not to disconnect. Take a look.
So on my teammate's first down in the game, he downs this person, puts him up on his shoulder, and he's stuck there for the rest of the match. Cool, neat. And that also includes the guy, the Dwight, that he downed. It's also stuck on his shoulder for the rest of the match. They are no longer allowed to play, meaning that I am now playing a 1v7 after my 30Q wait time. That's pretty cool. So the Wesker decides to DC out of that situation very wisely, but for some reason the Dwight does not, meaning that I cannot DC at any point during these shenanigans because abandon will not be offered to me even if we get all the way down to the end game. So as the game hits the end game collapse after all the other survivors escape, yep, we're still stuck here. And it's super fun and super entertaining to just walk around the map, trying to find literally anything to do while they're stuck up there. I literally weigh out the entire endgame collapse timer, and then still the game does not end. I guess something weird the fact that because Dwight is technically still on Wesker's shoulder, that the entity cannot go grab him. So that's fun. That's great. The endgame collapse timer goes all the way down and nothing happens. I wait about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, still nothing happens. So yeah, I ended up DCing. Now, I've heard a lot about this on Twitter. It's like, apparently if I had supposedly waited 3 minutes, it would have been fine. And then somebody else was like, no, you should have waited 5 minutes and then the game would have actually ended. And there are some people claiming that that is just no longer functioning at all. I was about to take that bet and wait like 3 to 5 to potentially 10 minutes just to get out of this situation. I'm just gonna take the DC.
But naively, I kept thinking, surely that's the only problem going on. Boom! Another bug. One. I think at this point, Behavior just needs to hire me as a beta tester because what the fuck even happened here? This next bug happened when one of my friends tried to grab Elisa from the hook. While in mid-unhook animation, the huntress interrupted him and hit him. He must have let go, or the attack forced him to let go, but Elisa got unhooked in time. Oh wait, what? Guys, I can't. I just can't. I can't! And finally, there's this spectator bug that would cause the player's point of view to look more zoomed out, and it would show more of the map in their view. But I presume that this is due to the change in the camera angle when they get hooked. I never heard anyone in-game complain about this, so I truly think it's just some weird spectator bug. Last iteration, out of 209 games, 161 of them ended with all 8 generators being completed, even if every survivor died that match. And to no one's surprise, the generators are still being rushed through at alarming rates. In this Oni and Ghostface iteration, out of 150 games, 102 of them ended with all 8 generators completed. Now, I want to divert for a second and mention this one important thing first. Back in the Resident Evil iteration, out of 1,672 survivors, 902 of those lived, and 770 died. I even survived half of my games, like, it was literally a split between 105 games and 104 games. This time, however, that wasn't the case. Out of 1,200 survivors, 541 of them lived, and 659 of them died. In my games, I only survived 53 times, and I died 97. And to me, this proves how absolutely broken the herbs were. More specifically, the yellow ones, though, because they would remove a hook state. And while it's much easier to remove a health state, especially with 2 killers, having to injure, down, and hook a survivor another time just sets killers back. It takes away time from catching other survivors that are on death hook, or stopping players from repairing generators, all while allowing survivors to go on from sure deaths to potential escapes. I will say though that having 2 new killers with powers that allow them to insta-down a survivor could have added to the higher rates of deaths. However, even with all of that, the gens kept flying. In my last video, I went into detail on all the other factors that contribute to this problem. I asked in my questionnaire if the catch-up mechanic changed anything for players, but results were mostly the same as compared to last time. The catch-up mechanic mostly worked well for survivors, was mixed for killers, and were balanced in favor of the survivor side. I suggest checking out my last video if you want to hear my full thoughts on the catch-up mechanic and the gen rushing issues, but at this point, I just think it's safe to say something needs to change, and as fast as those gens are going. In my questionnaire, I asked people what they want to see in future iterations of 2v8. Here are the most common requests players were sharing. New survivor objectives and items. Players want something strictly unique to 2v8 so they have a reason to come back and play anytime it returns. Sorry, we don't really just want recycled content from special events like the Blood Moon or Bone Chill. We want something that is strictly 2v8. New classes for killers and survivors. More classes in general will add more diverse gameplay on both sides. Give survivors more unique roles related to chests, totems, etc. You can also give killers a totem-related class. Or... okay, look, I don't play killer, so I don't know what they want. Rebalance the killers. Killers like Oni having quick power turnaround and better curving, while Trapper has to still collect his traps, is a mind-boggling choice. Behavior. Please help these weaker killers out. It's probably best to only give mini buffs to strong killers like Blade and Nurse, while giving more power to weaker killers like Trapper and Deathslinger. Reduce the gen rushing. I truly believe, as well as many others, that nerfing the catch-up mechanic for the survivor side would be one step closer to fixing this gen rushing problem. Another solution would be to include some form of gen regression during the game, or gen blocking at the start of the game or through specific actions performed by the killer. Fix killer queue wait times. During the PAX East convention livestream, Behavior acknowledged that the wait times for killers has been a problem since the first iteration of 2v8. Here's what they had to say about it.
Not on the next iteration, but the one coming in the summer, we're going to introduce a play while you queue feature. So you can queue up as killer. While you're queued up as killer, you can play matches as survivor in 2v8. While you wait, it'll hold your spot in line. You come back to the lobby, and you're ready to queue up as your killer. So you don't have to just sit there and look at the lobby screen for 12, 13, 14 minutes anymore.
So as of right now, we can try to make some assumptions as to how this is going to pan out. It is a little bit more of a distraction than a real solution. It's kind of like, oh, look over here, just go ahead, play this, you know? Just put this on, right? But again, as I mentioned in my last video, I think the main problem is that survivors are not having as much fun. They don't want to queue for survivor, so they queue for killer, or they just go back to the normal 1v4. So hopefully we'll see how this solution pans out, and then afterward we can assess if it helped at all in adding more survivors to games, or if it just made more people queue up for killer. Let's just hope that there is something else that will draw players into the survivor-only queues along with this by the time the next iteration comes out. Overall, this 2v8 left me exhausted. And honestly, I have to blame myself for it partially. When I was trying to play this iteration of 2v8, I just got burnt out trying to repeat what I did for the last 2v8 video. I mean, trying to squeeze in over 200 games in 2 weeks is just masochism at the highest level. It was not healthy for me, and I just also was getting really bored of the rinse and repeat of it all, because I was just overindulging, and there just wasn't really anything new except for Oni and Ghostface. And when you've already played so many games in the last iteration, and it's the 4th one now, yeah, you could see how I could get bored just playing Survivor all the time. And there's no way I was going to take the time away from playing the Survivor, trying to replicate those results, to go play Killer and get like, what, 2 or 3 matches within 2 hours? I understand that Behavior wants to have new content for us as frequently as possible, but I just think that it would have been better if they had waited until August instead of trying to squeeze in another 2v8 between the Orella chapter and the Five Nights at Freddy's chapter. And that's not to say that Oni and Ghostface made a horrible debut, or that testing fog crystals in 2v8 went poorly, but to follow up the Resident Evil iteration with the same thing basically, I'm just not surprised that some players felt this iteration was more bland and boring in comparison. If Behavior had waited to release the next 2v8, they would have had more time to resolve issues and add a lot more new mechanics and content. It also would have followed the FNAF chapter release and the final Twisted Masquerade, which surely would have brought in new and returning players excited to try this improved version of 2v8. But I want to note that not every person felt let down. Some from my questionnaire found this iteration to be a better experience, whether due to the lack of herbs or the addition of Oni and Ghostface specifically. The majority also want to continue to play 2v8, no matter how they feel about one of the iterations. The people want 2v8. And seeing this enthusiasm to me shows that people have a lot of hope for its success and how it's going to improve over time to really suit everyone's needs. Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching my video. Give me a like, a follow, and leave a comment if you're feeling spicy. And I hope you enjoy the montage. I'll see you next time.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Damn it, I wasted my whole med kit. Please, Rain, I believe in you. Yes! You're so good. You're so good, Rain. You got these W's. Oh my god, I'm a dumbass, bro. I'm so stupid.
It's gonna come right here, man. There's no way this guy's.
Actually? I think you got me.
I'm so sorry. It's not Ghostface. Well, actually, yeah, it's not Ghostface because there's no circle.
Circle is healing. I'm already saving her. She's next to the door.
Oh, wait. Ghostface is near me. Ghostface is near Killer Shack.
Light's coming.
No, I'm death hook.
Sorry, Roz.
It's fine. I blew the ghost too long. And it's us.
Where's my vault? Oh, right there. Oh shit! Girl, no. What are you looking at? Oh no. Holding it like an X. Holding it like an X. Fuck my butt!
That is unfortunate.
I'd rather take the fucking hatchet. No! He's running toward the hook.
Being annoying. Fuck.
It was just like a constant. Hang on. Fuck. Woo!
What am I watching?
Bro! Here, I'll mend you. And then I'll let you heal me first. If we have time. No! No! I let you die one time!
Oh my god, we're gonna do the last gen?
Oh crap.
No way.
Now he knows where I am. I threw a pallet. Oh.
No way.
Oh! Oh! Take the hit! Take the hit, Ghosty! Take the hit, Ghosty! No, he saw me. Please don't say you saw me.
Oh my god, there's a legion in this.
Ah, he saw me, bro. You're funny.
Are you trying to make me angry?
There's no way, bro. No! Okay, I'm gonna go to second stage. Yeah, I went to second stage. No, don't worry about it. It was my turn. Mom said it was my turn to go to second stage.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know, I have to rewatch the clip. And I don't think I'm gonna live because people are busy healing downstairs instead of rescuing me. And unfortunately, the only person you is close and you're getting chased. Yeah, so I'm gonna die too. Wait, there's no way. Oh no.
Oh my god. Sorry. Sorry.
That he gets the fucking power and beats my ass with it! Oh, how? Whatever. Whatever, bro. Whatever.
Okay, Oni's coming to join the party.
Are you good? Every fucking time, bro.